Jeremy Inman! Well, you actually have to sit here for the mic levels. We adjusted mics. I had to guess their heights earlier so we'd get mic levels. Okay, next up, Android 18, Meredith! And Baba and Dragon Ball Z, it's Linda Young! Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to get started and ask a couple of questions, but I want you to just be thinking of what questions you have for them, because then we're going to open it up to VIPs first, and we're going to form a nice little line and ask questions. So just be thinking of what you would like to ask. But I kind of want to start off with, could you even imagine when you recorded, when you got the audition, or when you came in and booked the job, that you would be sitting here so many years later talking about your character and talking about Dragon Ball Z, all the things? Jeremy, I think they just volunteered you.
No.
No,
I didn't pull back the curtain. I didn't even know what anime was when I auditioned for this show.
Okay, really? So this was your introduction into anime?
Yeah, I was actually in paramedic school, and I found out I got the part in the morning, and then I had to go to school at night, and I was telling my partner about it. I just recorded this thing. It's anime or whatever, Dragon Ball Z, and is that cool? And somebody in front of me did know it. They were a big fan. Like,
really?
You did what in the I'm like, so I told her, and she's like, and then she just turned around, like, she didn't explain to me anything. That was 22 years ago.
Wow.
So now I'm doing it full time.
That's crazy.
Here we are.
Here we are. What about you, Meredith?
Yeah, actually Kent Williams, I think you probably met him as Dr. Giroux. I was at a theater show with him at the time. He goes, you know what, they're trying to get these, they're auditioning people, you should go audition. And so me and Laura Bailey were best friends at the time, and we went to the audition, not knowing what it was, and I honestly think that they went, she kind of looks like Android 18. We should book her. Typecasting.
Totally.
I mean, for real. It was Chris Sabat and Justin. They're like, looks like her. Right?
Done and done.
Yeah. So yeah, but no, I had no idea what it was, no idea what I was walking into, and it's been quite the adventure.
Wow. Linda, what about you?
Same here. I had no idea what anime was, and my friend Patty called me up and said, there's this open audition. But I had been an actress for years, so I had an agent and everything, but she said, you want to go and then have lunch? Because she always liked having lunch. So we went to this, and I had no idea what it was either. We just had to imitate the ocean dove voices. That's what I had to do. We had to imitate voices. Yes, because they wanted to have a smooth transition from the ocean dove to Funimation dove. So Chris Sabat called me and said, you have the part of Frieza, and I was like, okay, who's Frieza? The one with the scratchy voice. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And he said, you'll find out who Frieza is, and yes, I did.
That's awesome. And do you love voicing villains, especially in this show?
Yeah.
Talking about Dragon Ball, yeah? What is it about voicing a villain?
With a villain, you can do anything you want. Whether it's bad or good, and you don't care about the consequences. And it's like therapy.
To get your frustrations out?
My daughter's here, she'll tell you.
Oh,
But I've been doing cameos, and she goes, oh, Mom, you can really get your stress out that way. Calling everybody monkeys and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's who we should question your daughter. She got called a stupid monkey. I don't know where she is.
Yeah, that's true.
What about you?
For me, playing a villain, because it's so opposite of my probably personality in real life. I'm really nice, and I'm not mean at all, and I probably would never say anything mean to anybody. So yeah, you get to play this full character that is just super snarky and tough, way more than I am.
The only bad thing about voicing a villain is there's not enough screen time.
Mm.
They always get less screen time, and as a director, I never understand it because you need conflict in the story, and there's usually too much hero stuff going on. It's like, but the fun thing about voicing a villain is the dynamics, like what they were saying. It's like there's a lot more freedom in voicing them, just deliveries and voice matching them, because they're the villain. The hero has audience expectations, and if they don't meet that, then you guys hate them, and the show tanks, and then nobody makes any money.
So talk about some of your other characters. So with Dragon Ball was, I think, each of your first characters, right?
Yeah.
And so that's really where you learned anime, learned the technical aspect. I would love to hear about learning the technical aspect. And as you know, Jeremy's a director as well, and so you probably have some insight for us.
It's completely different. All of us recorded yelling our butts off on the tape. So if the tape wasn't good, they had to rewind it and do it again and again. I think I screamed in that first fight with Cell 25 times. At least, constantly. And there was no editing. It was, especially the first incarnation of Dragon Ball Z, all that screaming and yelling is real time. There's not a lot of editing happening there. It's just a lot. And that was as my first introduction to any kind of voice acting. It was like, what?
And then the computers would freeze.
Oh yeah, it
And
was.
then you'd have to do it again.
Yeah. For perspective, my now boss of production, was running tape for Chris Sabat when we started recording Dragon Ball Z. Justin Cook.
Justin
He was running the board.
He was running the board. That's true.
Yeah.
Now it's all digital.
Now it's digital.
And now it's easy,
Yeah.
yes. But it is, like, I feel like people want to know about anime because they don't realize how it's a technical thing as well, because you've got to have the acting chops, but you've got to, grab script, look at screen, have the acting. So talk to that, match the mouth, yes. So talk to that a little bit.
Oh, I was gonna say the first time that we did the first time I had to do the big fight scenes. So Chris, who was my director at the time, he was like, "So Mira, I was like, what do you mean like fighting noises?" He was like, "Did you ever get in a fight?" No. You ever been in a fight? He's like, "Well, you gotta do better than that." And then I would laugh after every take. I'd be like, "Ha!" It's like you can't laugh after every take.
Did you really laugh
After every
like,
take.
yeah. I can just picture this now, picture
I would
your
totally.
Android character.
I would just start talking.
It was hard to first do all the fighting noises and stuff because we don't do those growing up like a boy, you know?
Totally.
So Chris Sabat taught me a lot of the fighting noises.
So how did he get you started? How did he teach you?
He would just do the noise.
He would do it and you would kind of imitate?
And because
Or then running noises.
Yeah,
Like,
running.
who makes running noises?
Or
When I run
taking
out,
off, taking off and landing. And also the scripts then were on paper, so we had to look down
yeah.
and then look up, look down,
Oh,
look
the
up.
paper
Oh, that's true. It was on
scripts.
paper at first.
Y'all don't even know. And voice over dub, what we do, the actor has to work more than any other discipline in acting. I will take that I will die on that hill any day. Because you're dealing with tape, you're dealing with a paper script that you're trying to read and talk and watch video to at the same time. It's amazing anything got done.
And then remember there would be the seconds and they'd say, hold that screen for that many seconds till you see that number come up.
Yes.
So you'd be sitting there 2 minutes waiting for that number. Like, hurry, hurry, hurry.
Questioning your life decisions.
That's how some people passed out in the movie.
I've heard
I just
that.
threw up.
Did you?
Yes. But not doing 16, I'm doing Taurus in Fairy Tale.
Oh, man.
And you almost threw up?
Yeah, Tyler was making me scream boo, on the 20th one. I just dug a little deep, I guess. I'm like, oh, let's move.
And it was barf.
Hold on. Get a bucket.
I'm okay.
Get a bucket.
I remember some of my first fight scenes, my stomach being sore from the inside out. From all
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
If it was really funny, It's like a workout when you came out of
You did, you just sweat.
I know. Well, that comes up. I'm glad you brought that up because the physicality of voice acting does come up a lot. I know Linda and I have talked about it. So do y'all like get in there? I know I kind of have to or move around. Do you get in there and get into it?
I don't, but I
You
watch
don't?
actors
Okay.
do it all day from the window, control room window. It's
Is it
hilarious.
kind of
And with the-
amusing as a director
Yes,
to watch these actors? like-
especially in some actors, and some actors in particular are like, what are you doing in there?
Do you feel like secretly, you know?
Yeah,
filming all the
sometimes.
actors?
There's no secret about it, I'll tell them.
Didn't they
But-
have video screens for a long time though? In
I
that?
thought they
I
did
feel like
for a
early
while.
days they did, and I think because we didn't have a good window to
Yes, you're
communicate.
right.
Yeah.
And that was always embarrassing. Because
Yeah.
I am probably one of those people you can
That
back.
does all that.
He's secretly making fun of you over on the side.
Dungeon
Yes.
boxes.
Dungeon boxes.
And then do you
No,
get
I
into it?
picture,
Because Linda,
I
I
picture it
know.
more in my head.
Yeah.
And then I still kind of move forward, but I don't do all this stuff. If I did, I'd be banging into the microphone and it wouldn't be
It
good.
wouldn't be good. Yeah. Do you, Meredith?
Oh, I did.
She does.
You do. Because you're that
And if
person.
it's like a young girl or something like that, I've been there. I don't know, it's like I have to act it out, but I use my hands a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, me too. So I'm like you.
Yeah.
Yes. So Jeremy, you can make fun of the two of us.
But
Yes.
I'm just trying to read it, I'm just like, especially wremote wise.
Well, yeah.
Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. Let's go. Just jumping back into the technical aspect.
Yes.
We had actors having to edit their own stuff when 2020 happened.
With a pencil.
With your finger or an iPad pencil. Oh, that was crazy. We moved on from.
Well, I want to hear, and then after this question, we'll open it up. But do you? I'm missing some of the chit chat. What?
Sorry, I just said there was no trauma.
Oh,
No
okay.
trauma.
We
No
can
trauma at
trigger
all.
Meredith.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it a little bit. There's a little trauma.
It's triggered.
I want to know if you have any special moments that either you love from the series from your character, or you just remember from the booth about your character or about recording. Like, do you have anything that really stands out about recording in general? I mean, it doesn't even have to be from this character.
Mine, the first night, well, I've told the story many times, but it's
Share it again.
at
It
the-
could be
toward
a new
the-
audience.
The first day I recorded Android 16 was my first day voice acting anything in my life.
Yeah.
It was also the day that a tornado hit downtown Fort Worth.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So I can always remember the date because I was in, you remember the old building?
Yes.
In Sabbath's booth, the window outside the
Yes.
whisper room, you could see into downtown Fort Worth. I lived down there. I lived about 3 blocks from where it hit. So I was there in Funimation recording while it was happening so I could see the wall cloud coming in
That's
Oh my
scary.
God.
to downtown Fort Worth. I'm like, what is going on? This is an omen.
Bet you got any fear and that was real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it hit like 2 blocks down from my house at the corner where Cambui meets with 7th Street in that museum district there. And there used to be, I don't know, something, but there used to be a big billboard. The tornado took the posts and twisted them like
Wow.
a candy almost. So the city, it's the coolest piece of art in Fort Worth to me. The city came in and painted them and made an art display out of it.
Really?
With a
Oh, that's
like a photo mural behind it of the wall cloud I was just mentioning, with something about the post office, because now it's a post office. So
Oh, wow.
we deliver mail in tornadoes.
Non-stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was that close. It
Nothing
was like,
stops the mayo.
Yeah. totally. So Meredith, what about you?
Okay, you have to repeat the question because I'm lost.
Yeah, do you have, we're talking about tornadoes. and
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What storms have I been in?
Yeah, what storms have you been in? No, do you have any special moments either from recording the series or just in the booth or something that you would like to share?
So when I got called back to do Super,
Mhm.
you know, and it's been years, and I thought, you know, Android 18, all this is done, and so it was really exciting to kind of bring her back because, you know, it's been such a fun pastime. I think it was, you know, and she's she's kind of a little mom, she's married, the whole thing. But we died laughing when Krillin flies off, and I was supposed to say like he's so cool or something like that, and I was just like, he's so cool. And Chris and them just died laughing, and so we like said like 4 times like, this is the best line ever, you know? Which are just like, I mean, it's so silly, but it was one of those memorable moments where we were all just laughing so hard
Yes.
because of how fun it was. So.
It was like
just a good memory.
with Superman, where Superman flies.
It totally was.
That's awesome.
Man.
Yeah, exactly. So it was just a memorable
Memorable moment for y'all.
Yeah,
it
totally.
is.
So fun.
I mean, I don't know with me. I know one thing that kind of stands out, and this is when they still had newspapers, when they were really popular. But they were coming to interview some of the voice actors right at the beginning, okay? And I have been doing Frieza. I never lost my voice. It was always I could place it, but I didn't even know they were going to be there. That day I came in, and my voice just wouldn't work. It was hoarse. So they wrote in the newspaper,
No.
I was trying to do Frieza, but my voice didn't work. And I'm thinking, the one time when you do a newspaper, I mean, my picture was in there, and it's like, thanks a lot.
Oh my goodness. Well,
It's
how
a
about
long time.
Yeah, that's crazy that, and especially you've got that powerful voice. The first time I saw her in person and heard her do the voice, what? That came out of you? That's crazy. Let's take some questions. And so what I would like to do, because we don't have an extra mic, and so if there are some VIPs who have questions, come here, and you can tell me your question. They'll be able to hear the questions. Oh, I'm blocking your light.
Oh, please do.
That they'll be able to hear the questions, but I will repeat the questions so that you all can hear. So, come forth. You're invited, VIPs. Not all at once?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, what's your question?
I was just thinking, wondering if there was any specific lines or any specific moments with your characters that, you know, was like that pinnacle moment for any of the characters you've worked with, if we could hear that if your voices were up for it.
So he's asking if there are any like pinnacle lines or certain lines for any of their characters, if they would be up for it, or get up for it, or...
It's really loud. I don't like doing that. It's like the hell splash when I'm kicking Cell's butt legitimately. I'm so bitter.
That's what I was hoping
Yeah,
for.
you don't even-
that's what he was hoping for.
It's too much.
But it might stress, does it stress your voice too much?
I'm sitting over here by a river and rabbits. I'm sorry. I do like it's time to fight in the video game. When you choose me, I say something cool.
I pick you every time.
Oh, do
Thank
you?
you.
It's 16's up front, or she's 16's up front every time.
But
Oh,
can you have
nice.
me fight and beat 17? That'd be awesome.
As long as it's not you. My line?
You
Yes,
should have all three of
yes.
us, because you can play three.
One of my favorite lines was just from the Vegeta, series, because it was just, it's so memorable. So I would always do, "How sad to work so hard for so little."
With me, I have no idea because Frieza has so many lines. I know that everyone likes the stupid saying monkey, and I know everyone likes that, and I mean everyone likes Pop-Goes the Weasel.
Yeah,
Should I do
you
that
one
one?
of those.
Oh, you're this is what everybody wants.
Gohan, let it go.
Just let it go. He was Elsa before Elsa, okay?
Delayed reaction from me. That was good.
Okay, this is about when you killed Krillin, as everyone knows. And to tell you the truth, I was in the booth and I said, "What? I'm going to kill Sunny?" No! But anyway, it was kind of funny. Up goes the weasel.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, what you got?
What was the hardest scene you did for your character that you did?
Yeah, okay, so he said, what's the hardest scene that you did for your characters, if you remember? And if there's not something specifically, maybe just a challenge that you've had as a voice actor in general.
For Dragon Ball?
For Dragon Ball,
Dragon Ball.
or something else.
Well, yelling all day.
Yeah, for me, I would just say it was like, it was in those beginning days when everything was so much more difficult and time consuming, and you can't just digitally edit, and you know, you have to match them out correctly, and so it's like sometimes you would do a take, you know, 30 times.
Yes.
And it was, you know, so it was, the process was so much longer. So those fighting scenes in the early days when I'm just learning the character, learning who it is, you know, who she is, what does she sound like, you know, what's out of character for her, and then also having to fight when you're like, what is fighting noises? And then matching them out on cue with that. So that was, the early days were definitely the hardest. I think it's a lot easier now than it was previously.
Yeah.
And just recording a character they keep killing. That you love. It's like, I love this guy.
Why do you
Hang
keep
out.
killing?
Yeah, it's like, what's the problem?
With me, it would be the early days too, because Frieza's lines were so long, so I'd have to look down, try to memorize it, and then look up and try to match the flaps.
Y'all
That was
even
the hardest.
Paper scripts, y'all.
Yeah. And then plus you had to read the paper scripts.
And then check to see if there's paper rustling in the files, you know?
Yes,
Y'all.
yes.
I'm sorry.
But you had to
No,
draw.
that's what we keep doing.
Real.
The paper scripts.
I don't know how we did it.
I don't know
Oh,
either.
paper scripts. Usually, for me, I'd have to hold the script here so I
Oh,
could
did
see
you?
it. Like, I could see
So
my
how'd you keep it
lines.
from rattling?
Except just hold it.
You must have study
I don't
hands.
know. I mean, listen, we should go back. I mean, there's probably full of.
So now if we're watching old episodes, we're all
Yes.
going to be
Now you
listening
can
for
appreciate it in different
paper
ways.
rustling.
And
Old
appreciate
episodes.
different ways,
Thank you. Yeah.
Straight VHS.
What you got?
So are there any like lines from shows or video games you guys recorded that after hearing it, it's like, oh, man, can I go back and redo it?
Yes, all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Specific example of that?
So for you guys, are there any lines that you recorded that you go back and go, ah, gosh, I wish I would have, I could do it differently, or I wish I could re-record it? Boom.
I wouldn't remember which ones, but
All of
yeah.
them. I can tell you right now. I'm not kidding. Like when I wanted to be able to, I'm a deep actor. I want to act more with Android 16, and Sabbath would always make me sound stupid. There's just too much emotion. You're an Android. I just need you like this. I'm like, okay. And even the Gohan speech originally, I was like, all of that stuff. That's why I was so happy when Kai came back. Because we were all just better actors at that point, and better at voice acting at that point. So I think, oh my God, you go. Probably shouldn't say this at the panel. But you just watch the old stuff, you're like, God, we're all terrible. But you watch Kai, and it's a lot better. And then in the video game, Sabbath's not even there, so I get to act a lot more, especially in this last
Right, the
one.
video games, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't
So
have to
But you make a point.
There's no
we
mouth
have-
wipes and match
we
show.
do listen to the director, I mean, we have to.
right. They let me act more. So I finally got a little redemption after 20 years.
I don't think I go back and listen to myself too much. It's kind of hard. I don't know. Maybe I critique myself too much. So
Oh, I think we all do.
Yeah.
Oh, you probably do it too, Lisa.
Critique,
We all do
yeah,
that.
it's so easy to critique yourself and
Yeah.
think, oh, I could have done it better. I mean, I think that's part of acting though, because also as an actor, you want to always be growing. So I think it'd be hard not to critique.
It's an artist's journey.
It is.
It is
the
a
artist's
skill to be
journey.
able to objectively evaluate what you're doing.
It's true.
Yeah, good one. Thank you. Heath, what you got?
Hey, so my question's for all you guys. When you know you gotta play a villain character, like what do you guys do to prep yourself to get into that mindset?
So when you're playing a villain character, what do you do to prep yourself to get into that mindset?
I yell at my husband, who's back there. I yell at my daughter, my almost daughter-in-law, who's right over there. That's what I do. Not really.
I didn't know you had a husband.
Revealed here.
What do I do to prep? Well, Android 18 is, you know, she's an Android, so she doesn't even have a lot of emotion either. So that's the great part of it. I can come in and just
Do nothing.
do nothing.
But sometimes
But
that's
I
hard
will
to be
say
a lot
that is,
emotional.
that is hard. And then I will say though that the director is key. Because
Yes.
I don't know what is actually going on. I've not watched it beforehand. I don't know the whole thing. So they're having to explain what's happening. We don't get to go in together and play off each other, you know? And that's, I think it'd be really fun if we
Okay,
actually were able to
I've
do
wanted
that,
that to
but.
happen ever since I started doing this.
But,
Yeah.
you know, you are strictly, sometimes you're the first one and you don't get to hear any other voices.
That's the closest you get.
And so you need a good director to help give you the storyline of where you're at and what's happening. And so I think that is one of the key things for me personally, is just making sure that I'm able to listen and hear what they're saying.
Now, everything
Put
Meredith
myself in the
said,
storyline.
it sounds like a washout, but I just kind of let it happen organically because bumping off what Meredith just said, you don't even know what he looks like if it's the first time you're recording, and then you have to go on what the director tells you, what we're looking for, and then you just literally just let it happen organically, real time. That's why that's part of the fun of being a villain. It's like I'm going back to what we were just starting, you know what you're gonna expect with a hero voice. Anime is filled with them, all young little boys, and they have precious little voices, and they all sound the same, and they're all on the same somewhat journey of whatever they're doing, but villains, they're all different.
No boundaries.
No boundaries whatsoever.
Yeah.
So that's part of the fun of being a villain, is walking in and seeing what it could be, a monster, it could be whatever.
So Jeremy, flipping the coin, as a director, what do you try to do for the actor to help them on their journey when they don't know a lot, perhaps?
Well, for me personally, every director's different, but I cast people I trust, especially in roles like that, where we can collaborate. I'm never a dictator director. I like to, an actor's an actor for a reason. I'm here more like to guide their creative process and collaborative work. I have the last say, but it doesn't mean I'm the only say. You know what I mean? So, if I cast Meredith, I already have an idea of the range she can bring to the property. And that's, again, as a director, I was saying about the actor having, that's part of the fun of the job before you start reading lines, is finding what the actor's gonna do with it, and then I suggest, from what I'm hearing from them, how to bring it here, bring it here, bring it here. And then that way, everybody wins.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, thanks. And Edgar, what do you have?
Do you have any advice for any up-and-coming voice actors, and at what point do you actually feel that you do this full time?
Okay, so do they have any advice for up-and-coming voice actors? And then at what point did each of you feel like, okay, I can do this full time?
Okay, well, first of all, acting is key, right? So many people I know have theater backgrounds, and I think that helps a lot. Also, I was an actor before I even got into voice acting, so I had an agent, so I was always doing it part-time because I was married, but I always seemed to get a lot of work, all different kinds of work. At first I would take any kind of work almost, you know, I mean, nothing seedy or anything.
Anything.
Frieza was my seediest, but no, and I really think, also, this kind of helped me when I found out I was gonna audition for this anime that might be like a cartoon. What I did was I quick turn on cartoons, and I knew I was gonna have to imitate. So I kept imitating them. I started imitating voices, and it kind of got me in the headspace, so when I got there, I could imitate well. But I do sometimes like to listen to shows, and I'll just pick one character and repeat what they say, but I'll repeat it differently, you know, with my own way that I would say it. And I've done that too. But I really think acting, anything you can act, and then get a good voice coach or instructor that knows about the business, that knows everything about the business, that can help you with the demo, because they know what you guys look for. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, that's good, great advice. What about you, Meredith?
Yeah, I mean, I would say similarly, imitation, you know, knowing your voice, knowing what you can do, having a good reel. You know, starting a reel is something that's just like you find different commercials, you find different voices that you're wanting to do, and you learn to repeat that and get those styles down. Learning to have a healthy, you know, take care of your voice and knowing what you're doing with that. And knowing your range. But most of mine was like imitation. I was an actor beforehand as well. I was not just, you know, I was not a rando. We were in theater and doing film and starting that kind of thing too. So, yeah, I mean,
And we're both singers too.
Yes.
So you can place your voice.
Yes, very much so. And so like imitating styles with music, I could do the same thing. I started singing with the 16-piece orchestra, doing big band music, but I also did pop music, and I also can do country, and it's because I can imitate a variety of styles. And so I think being able to imitate, your ears are your biggest friend, you know? Like, can you emulate what you're hearing?
But don't imitate someone exactly.
No, not exactly.
That's not a good idea, right?
Chris actually used to make fun of me when he first directed. He was like, Meredith, because I would give so many line reads. I'd be like, how are you today? How are you today? How are you today? You know, he'd be like, you don't need to give me 15, Meredith. Like, you covered it all.
Intentional
You know,
damage on any way to deliver that line. Just pick
You
one.
just did it. Just pick one.
We did that, learn that in acting.
Yeah, totally.
Every way you can do a line.
Yeah. So,
I would say, this is gonna be, yes, everything I said, but have a long talk with yourself and emotionally prepare yourself for a long journey and make sure you're ready for it. Because it is a hustle trying to be a full-time actor in any market, LA, here, wherever you are. Then take acting classes, not just acting classes, not voice acting or acting for film or whatever, because that is your baseline tool, right? Then get involved in local communities of people doing the same thing, because a lot of people see that as competition, but no, it's going to help you network and find out who's doing what and where, and who's looking for what, and then, self-critique, peer critique, that kind of thing. Just locally, there's all kinds of VO hookup on Facebook or whatever, if you're on Facebook or whatever you're doing. I see them constantly. As far as the community you were trying to be a part of, and then go from there. That is literally probably the best advice I can give you. And then, P.S., you'll never be full-time. Well, I can't say never. I know plenty of people that do VO full-time, but don't pigeonhole yourself into doing VO full-time.
Have a backup plan.
Do all
lots
of it.
of things.
Yeah, especially in this market. This market is big with
Yes.
advertisers and like industrial content. Like, I'm gonna read this thing for this widget company that needs to teach their employees something stupid, right? Those pay just as much as acting jobs, usually. And then you have the Shreveport market, and you have the Austin market, and you have the New Orleans market, and that's big TV film. But agents up here send actors, correct me if I'm wrong, for stuff like that as well from up here. So you have to be ready. Like, the DFW market is limited and not limited as long as you're willing to drive a couple hours, basically. It's like, what is it, the 5th largest media market or something? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
this
for
is-
a while it was
yeah,
number 5.
it's in the top 7 media markets. So there is just generic work here that they need actors for. And then all the anime VO happened here, 20 years here we are. So there's work here. I would suggest, we'll SAG and after and all that stuff's a different conversation entirely, that we don't even need to have this. So.
yeah. Well, one of the things that I've noticed is people having their own studios. It's so easy nowadays. I say
Yeah.
that, I don't.
Not for
want
me.
to.
It's not easy. We tried it.
But if you are young and that's something that you're interested into, and then just doing it. I'm not talking about a big job, like trying to get a job, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. When I'm talking about, my main thing is songwriting and sing. I'm like, songwrite day in, day out. If you've got a platform or you don't have a platform, because when the opportunity arrives, you're ready, because you're not waiting. And so my big thing is like, if you feel called to it, do what you can now. Don't wait for a big job.
Right. Be prepared.
Do people's indie stuff. Don't let them take advantage of you. But also, I always see on Twitter all the time about, don't do work for free, which is not wrong. It's not wrong. Never let yourself be taken advantage of. But at the same time, if you're starting with nothing and these people are making this game starting from nothing, it might be a good collaboration.
Totally.
I did when I was working. I didn't always direct anime. I was working production. I AD'd a few movies and television shows and whatnot. And where was I going with that? I totally just
Something for free?
Yeah, something for free.
Yeah.
Some of the work I did on it's
Yeah.
like was hard work for free or pennies on the rate a day dollar.
Yeah.
But you do it anyway because it just community. It opened me up to other people doing the same thing.
You did the same. I did the same.
Yeah, well, and you get such great experience, because I feel like I've worked for casting directors, and I've interned, and I've worked at recording studios, and I feel like the more you know about the business, kind of like taking acting classes just helps you as a voice actor, no matter what type of acting class. We're working on different parts of the business, and I think each of y'all have done that. It gives you such insight on all parts that it helps you as an actor, whether you're a voice actor or on-camera actor.
You can never learn more than by doing.
That's true.
You can read about it all day. You can hear me talk to you about it all day, but as soon as you do it, you know, I'm just noise in the ear.
And don't do it to be famous.
Thank you, please.
You gotta actually like doing it. Because it's really not that easy. It's not all it's cracked up
So
to
many
be.
crushed dreams come through the door.
Wow, that was a good question. You got a lot of discussion there. Thank you.
Thank you.
And don't be a jerk.
Oh yeah, be nice.
Easy to work with.
The key to getting work in this business is just liking what you do and liking the people you do it with.
That's true.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just like doing what you're supposed to do, having your stuff ready, submitting your auditions on time. If you're on camera, having your headshot and resume
Little
ready.
things.
It's little things.
Not being late. That's a
Yeah.
huge one in the production industry. You show up 10 minutes early, you're 10 minutes late. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes it is. It's the
Following
little
directions
things.
on audition sites. Auditions are a whiff anyway. But when you're not following directions and I'm digging through 500 auditions, I'm like, what are we doing here? I don't know.
What do you do if they don't follow
I'll
directions?
delete. I mean,
Yeah,
seriously, not
yeah,
to sound. I have 500 to
No,
go
I
through in 3
understand.
hours. I'm not going to go through all of
No.
it. I had sent out auditions for some stuff, and I got stuff back that weren't even in the size. They just decided to read for characters that they wrote signs for. I'm like, you're not getting hired just for this. I mean, you could be the best voice actor in the world. You could be Ed Wynn, and I'm just delete.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
understand. Yeah.
It sounds cold, but I literally don't have time for it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Helpful insight.
Austin, what you got for us?
I got
So
5
follow
days
the
to finish this
directions.
episode.
Follow the instructions.
Good one. Like those things, what's the book? Everything you need to know you learned in kindergarten or
Yes.
something like
Yeah.
all the
Oh,
directions. Yes, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Austin.
So you guys have given a lot of good prep, but I kind of want to touch another aspect that you guys haven't touched yet. So from a character study perspective, if you're doing Shakespeare or Brecht or something, you can really sit down and analyze the character and get their headspace. But when you're playing Frieza or insert random anime character here, what is that process like, and how does it differ from a more traditional grounded role in terms of character study?
Okay, so his question, that's a really good one. Because if you dig into Shakespeare or something, you have time to delve deep into the character, but sometimes anime is a lot different and you don't have that time. So how does your character preparation differ when you're doing anime?
It's very quick. I mean, for me, I just look at the character and I think I'm the character. That's what I do.
Boom! I like that. That was a good answer. What about y'all?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's very different. I mean, it's not your traditional, you're not doing a play where you're playing out a full part. You really are going in and you have to perform right away with what you don't even know much about the character a lot of times. They may give you a small synopsis, and then tell you where you are in the series, and you just don't get much. So it really has to do with inflection, trusting your director, and then you kind of grow with the character. I feel like I know Android 18 really well now. So I know how she says things, I know what she, but I didn't in the beginning, and I had to go and listen to references of what I did the week before, And so it's I feel like it has a lot to do with, I mean, I wish it was a deeper, a minute movie, and but you just gotta be able to perform, and you gotta perform quick.
Everything they said, and that's why baseline acting for this discipline is so important, because it's all cold reading, basically.
Yeah, everything is cold
You want to take an anime voice acting workshop, just go take a cold read class at
Yes,
any kind of community college or acting school before any kind of actual voiceover workshop you want to do, because that's what you're doing, and that's why you have to trust the director and trust your now learned organic skills as an actor to interpret that, and then with yeses or nos from the director or guidance in a collaborative way with the director, but it's all cold reads until you get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first time you're seeing a line.
Yeah, because
So
you
you don't get a script
you don't
beforehand.
see it at all. Sometimes like going back to what we were talking about before, my favorite thing to do as a director that knows what actors do is to be able, you only get to do it once a week, is when all your characters are recorded and then you have your lead in at the end of the day. And then they get to hear the whole show and then just insert their lines, and that's the best product. That's when, because acting's real. I mean, you're trained as an actor to respond off the energy you're getting from your other actor.
But you don't get that.
You don't get that at all.
It's like little monologues.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I have one-liners.
Right.
I think I see you around there. Hey, what question do you have?
Oh, you're good.
Y'all can hate this because all of the questions have been like really serious and really, you know, giving some of the.
I already love you.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But my question is absolutely goofy, and
I like it.
to know actually value if your characters in Dragon Ball were a sandwich. What kind of sandwich would they be? I'm talking bread, I'm talking like fillings.
Okay, that's it. I like it. We're shifting the mood. So if their characters, their Dragon Ball characters, were a sandwich, what kind of sandwich? And she wants the deets.
Let's see. Frieza would be the hottest pepper ever. But the one that's hottest. Rebecca was hotter than the jalapeno.
Habanero.
Ghost pepper.
Ghost pepper, yes.
The ghost pepper, yes.
Scorpion.
More than
But I
ghost.
heard there's this hot gummy bear that's even hotter than
I've seen that.
that. Maybe that's.
Why would you do that to
I don't
yourself?
know. Maybe
I'll watch it.
Oh, I do too.
yeah. Yeah, but you love to watch.
It's like I'm watching somebody do something I never will. It's kind of that kind of feeling. It's like, hey, sorry about you.
Am I like actually kind of hungry for lunch? So I'm probably thinking more of something I'd want to eat now. What Android 18 would do. Does she even eat?
Right. I don't know. Yeah. I'm thinking color palette. That's my starting point. Just like I could have like a burger with guacamole on it. That's kind of a sandwich, right? Or hash chili. Those are
Ooh,
great
that's
as well. Let's go hash chili. That's better.
Yes, I like that.
Or, I mean, can you make like a Philly cheesesteak with hash chili?
You can do whatever you want
I'm
to.
just
I
shooting
think.
from the hip here.
You want to eat it.
Hash chili Philly cheesesteak. That sounds awesome.
Plus, it's fun to say.
Hash chili. Wait.
Hash
Hash chili cheesesteak.
Yeah, but there was a Philly in
Philly,
there.
right.
Philly
Hash chili Philly cheesesteak.
Chili, there's your vocal warm-up.
Hash chili Philly cheesesteak. Make that happen, world.
Make that happen. Somebody. Thank you. That was fantastic. Okay, let's see. I think we have time for one more. What you got?
So, if y'all could choose any anime character from any anime from since y'all started to date, who would you choose to voice?
Okay, so he said.
I have, this sounds stupid.
Wait, I have to repeat in case you didn't hear it. But he's got an answer. So if you could choose any anime character from any show, who would you choose to voice? I'll go.
I have the luck of Captain Obi is who I mean, I can't ask for a better character to want to voice. Literally, I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. Or I'm trying to think. There was, when I first auditioned for Dragon Ball Z way back when, I thought I wanted Hercule, Chris Rader's part.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I don't even know what he says. Okay, boo. Probably would have been better.
I don't know.
Well, I really like voicing Genkai so much. I like her character. I love that. But if I could voice anything, it wouldn't be anime, but it would be Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, I mean,
I would love that.
Female villains in general.
Yeah, okay.
yes,
More, yeah.
I agree.
To Cruella de Vil.
To more villains.
To more villains.
Female villains.
Or female.
Yes, I
Yeah, I don't know. One of my favorite characters obviously is Launch, just because she's two absolutely different characters, and so it's like playing two people. So that was fun. I would have loved if she was a bigger role. She's kind of a side character, but. And recently, like, I did a video game for her, and they're like, we should bring this character back. I'm like, who do I talk to? Like, who do we need to talk to?
That happens.
This is a great, yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna go Disney characters too. I've always thought I was a Disney princess.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, I can sing the songs for you in a second. You'd be like, all right, Disney princess, Elsa.
Wait, I still say that you should dub that Let It Go thing as an Android.
Oh, let it go. Sing it. Let it go. Not anymore. I don't care. Tomorrow free. Probably another version of Android 17.
Oh my goodness. Well, this has been so much fun. I think we need to do a selfie with you guys in the background. So you have to act awake. Yeah, like you kind of were. So here, what? You want to turn around? What? Wait, you can't leave. Oh, okay, you're going to get up. Oh, get up and participate. Yes. Okay, here we go. Oops. Okay, let's see. Do we have actors? Oh, yeah, do you want to turn it? Here, yes. Okay, ready. Everybody ready. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Okay, now do a fun one. 1, 2, 3.
What is fun when you're like,
Yeah.
Jazz hands.
I know.
Jazz hands, spirit fingers, have fun.
Okay, hey, y'all have been great. Thank you so much.